Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of the Closers Podcast. My name is Marco Alvarado, coming at you live with the man himself, the infamous one, the most interesting man in the world, Quinn, the moon dog, woo, Kalani.
No sun cats allowed. No sunbathing felines. This is the Wolf's Lair.
Oof.
For the third time, the third consecutive try at this. Now we're on.
We have tried 3 specific times to get that intro down, and we finally did it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it after technical issue after technical issue. The computer just doesn't want to respond with me today. The spheres of influence that we have over one another converge on these 2 fronts that have come to a head this past weekend. And that can only be called, arguably, one of the most action-packed weekends in human history.
The planets aligned in 2 universes far apart. And yet, for us caught in the middle, we were able to experience a core moment in pop culture history.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. And of course we are talking about the end of the third phase. Well, actually, no, it's technically not the end of the third phase of the MCU, but it is the end of the Infinity War saga as we know it. With Endgame coming out this past Thursday night, if you want to get technical, Friday to be exact. And Quinn, how many times have you seen it?
I've seen it 3 times so far.
3 times. Okay. And I have seen it twice. Quinn and I actually saw it together one time. On
I
Friday.
fell asleep during the second act.
He fell asleep during the second act. After Hulk and Thor showed up on the screen, he fell fucking asleep right after that. But it was still a good time. Second thing we were also discussing, we were talking about Game of Thrones. Winter came.
Winter gone.
Winter gone. It's over. As quickly as winter came, winter left the building. And we're going to... I think we should start with that. We should start with Game of Thrones, get that out of the way, because there's a lot more Marvel talk here.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's... I would say that's the best course of action.
So what did you think of that episode?
Well, to be honest, it was about an hour and a half, and when the episode starts, the first 10 minutes is great. It's, real tension-packed. And then as the battle starts to go on, well, first Melisandre shows up. And
the most pointless character in the whole series, I would say.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, she's a core character in the hero's journey.
Okay, well, she was the least needed character in that fight, I would say.
Oh, I
I would agree. Could you agree with that?
No, I disagree.
How did she help in any way?
Well,
the Dothraki are gone. They're all
dead.
The
Dothraki are gone. That part was a little pointless. That part felt like it didn't, strategically, it made no sense why your cavalry would charge first. And, well, I'm by no means a military strategist.
Right, but I think you're correct in that.
But it just didn't make sense to me.
It didn't make any sense.
But they were like, fuck it, let's go, it looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool with our flaming swords.
The worst thing is that Ghost goes, and we never see Ghost again. So does that mean Ghost is dead? Who knows?
I think that's...
But Melisandre, she lights the Araks, the Dothraki curved swords.
Yep.
And, they all perish.
Poor guys.
And then Melisandre, she also lights the trench, which I guess holds off the army of the undead.
Yeah.
Then most importantly, she freaking, drops the clue to Arya to go kill the Night King.
I mean,
so
sure.
She's super important.
I feel like Arya would have done that regardless, though. I feel like she would have had the sense enough sense to just go and do it herself.
Maybe, but then you're getting to a whole conversation of would she have gone? Was it fated or was it intervention?
Yeah, that's not an argument that I would want to entertain. It's pretty deep, a little deep for the grave. A little too deep for the grave boy, I would say.
The night is dark and full of terrors.
It is. What did you think about choice of Arya to fight or to kill the Night King as opposed to Jon throwing down and getting the best of him.
It was cool. I mean, it was a cool surprise, and I understood it. I mean, it was a great payoff for all Arya's arc. You know,
I think it makes perfect sense.
It completely pays off her entire journey. And I mean, Jon doesn't necessarily need to kill the Night King to pay off his journey.
True, exactly.
So
that makes perfect sense.
I understood why they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, as a book reader and as a
bookworm.
As a bookworm and as someone who loved the show.
Uh-huh.
Of course I want to see Jon throw down.
Yeah.
With the Night King.
Right.
Of course. That just sounds so rad.
Yeah, it does.
But at the same time, I understood why they did it.
No, it made sense because Arya spent literally like 5 to 6 seasons just training by herself, just totally honing her craft. It made it make sense that she'd be the one to be able to pull that move off on the Night King, use her lightning fast reflexes to get the best of him.
Yeah, she's like Batman. She's the Batman of Westeros.
Yeah. Oh, that's fucking sick. Makes me love her even more.
Which,
my girl Maisie.
Everyone's made that comparison, but it's true. It's the most apt comparison.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. So, what'd you think about the fall of the House of Mormont? It's over. It's gone.
Lyanna Mormont. She got. I hackled out loud, died laughing when she got smacked by that dragon. And then she's so hardcore, she's so gangster, she stood up and war cried and charged at it.
I know, dude.
And ended up killing it, dude. It was awesome.
No,
I was like, how fun that probably was for that girl to act that out.
Oh, yeah, because she was supposed to be in one episode.
Yeah.
And that was it.
She had an arc. Her character had an arc. And she got to die one of the coolest deaths.
Yeah, she did. It was fucking sick.
She'll go on forever in legend.
Oh, she's a legend. She is a legend, no doubt.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of the other Mormont, Sir Jorah, my favorite character. He was my favorite. To see him go down that way, protecting Khaleesi.
Sir Jorah is your favorite character?
Yes. He actually
What
was.
about Sir Jorah you find so appealing? That he's your favorite character.
I always connected to him just because...
He never succeeds?
Shut the fuck.
He always falls short. He's forever locked into the friend zone?
No. Oh, wow. Okay. No, definitely not any of those reasons. It's just because I'm the type of person that
do you have grayscale?
No, I don't have grayscale. I'm not
psoriasis.
I'm not a leper. No. I'm just the type of person that when I look at the slate, it's a large slate of characters, I never tend to jump at the ones that everybody else are kind of gravitating towards. So, like, Jon and Arya and Tyrion and Khaleesi, all of those characters have been like the most popular ones. They're the main characters, so obviously everyone's gonna love them. To me, I like to kind of have an off-kilter pick. I don't like to just have a favorite character that is an obvious choice. I don't like to be predictable in that way. So, ever since season 1, I always liked Ser Jorah. He was my guy, and to see him go out that way, I thought was perfect. He stood by Khaleesi's side. He stood in there like a soldier, like a champ. Took the blows for his queen, and stayed loyal. And that's honestly the biggest thing for me. He was loyal to the very end to the queen that he swore was his queen, and that was it. There was never a wavering moment. I, as a person, can very much, I'm a pretty loyal person myself, so as any good character does, you're able to see a part of yourself within that character, and I saw a part of myself within Ser Jorah. Never forget him, and he's a legend too. So,
Ser Jorah went down like a gangster.
Yes, he did. Rest in peace, Ser Jorah. Anything else you want to touch on? Well, let's go with predictions. What do you think is going to happen in the next episode?
Well, part of me feels like the next episode is going to be kind of like another setup episode, essentially. The North is going to be like, yeah, we won. And Daenerys, they're going to they're gonna rally behind Daenerys, and I think they're gonna get hit with a cold realization that they might get completely decimated by Cersei somehow. I also wonder if we'll see Bronn this episode.
Ooh, yeah.
And I wonder if he'll be trying to assassinate one of Cersei's brothers, Jaime or Tyrion.
Or both.
Or both. I wonder if he'll go through with it. I wonder if he'll turn. I don't know what I feel like.
What do you think he's going to do? If you're a betting man, would you bet that he turns and he was like, okay, I'm going to help you guys instead of like do what Khaleesi's telling, or not Khaleesi, Cersei's telling me?
If he saw, if he like scanned what was left of Daenerys, of her army.
Yep.
And if he thought they had a good chance to beat Cersei, I feel like he'd probably join Tyrion and Jaime. If he felt like they had no chance to beat Cersei, he'd probably kill Jaime and Tyrion.
Right.
So I feel like, he's very much,
he's an opportunist.
He's on the winners. He's on the winners bracket.
That makes sense. He's always going to be on the bracket.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I personally believe that in the next episode, I think they're going to jump right into it. I don't think that there's going to be much of a waiting period of like, I mean, there's obviously going to be dialogue between the characters. I mean, I think Khaleesi and Jon are going to talk more about the fact that she's his fucking aunt and what that means for their relationship and all this stuff. But but after that, I think they're going to go straight down. I think they're not really going to wait, or they're going to link up with the Greyjoy. What's her name? Yara.
Theon's sister.
Yeah, they're going to link up with her, get some ships, and then they're going to go down there and try to fight any way they can. And the thing, too, is like the Night King and Cersei are very similar in the way where you kill her, you kill him, the army's gone. It's basically over. There's no reason to fight once she's gone. There's no reason to fight, obviously for, canon reasons, there's no reason for the Night Army to fight after the Night King goes down.
Yeah.
There's no practical reasons as to why the army would stop fighting when Cersei died. So I feel like the army in the north and the army in the south are really on even footing in that regard. I don't think there's much that separates both, just because, they both are very, very much fatigued. And they're actually not that big. Both armies are pretty small now. So, especially Cersei's, I feel like they don't have really much morale as opposed to the north. They're very hardened, experienced.
I'd say, the north, they're going to be riding high after, this victory. But, I think once they look at the numbers, I think morale will drop pretty quickly. Or maybe it won't, man. Maybe it'll just be fucking gangster and it'll be like the Return of the King, where, Aragorn is just like, for Frodo. And they all just charge valiantly and,
and they get it.
And
they do
hope wins. But maybe this is Game of Thrones. Maybe Cersei just squashes them all. And Cersei wins.
That'd be insane if Cersei wins.
That would be, and Cersei and Euron win. And Euron becomes king, and they have a child.
That would be the dumbest ending. Not because of Cersei, but because of Euron becoming king. That would be the dumbest. Introducing a character in season 7, right? Or was it
6
season
or
6?
7?
One of the later seasons, you introduce him and he becomes the fucking king. Go fuck yourself. That's so stupid.
Would that ruin the show?
That would ruin the show. If he dies to get Cersei on the throne, that makes sense. I would be okay with that. But to have both of them survive and he becomes king.
Who should kill him? Should it be Jon? That'd be kind of sick.
It would be kind of sick, but I think
Theon's sister.
Theon's sister should do it. I think
and then we'll get Clegane
Bowl, and then you have Samwell Tarly.
Yeah, you also have Brienne.
Oh yeah,
and Podrick.
That's the thing. I think the North just has a lot more main characters on their side, and a lot. So obviously, in my opinion, a
lot more will die.
The army of Cersei is just an army. The army of the North has a ton of heroes. If this was Star Wars Battlefront 2, The OG version.
Then the North would win for sure.
The North would win because they got Luke and they got Han and they got Yoda. They got all these random heroes.
Qui-Gon.
Yeah, Qui-Gon. And all that the South has, they don't even have Darth Vader. They just have like Boba Fett and like Count Dooku, and that's it. It's like that's all they fucking got. They don't have anybody else.
Count Dooku was a great character.
He was a great character, but I mean
the prequels, honestly, the prequels are better than the JJ trilogy.
Wow. That's well, I know what our next podcast is going to be about. We're going to go deep.
Phantom Menace, The Revenge of the Sith is far and away better than Force Awakens. And what was the last one? Last Jedi. Last Jedi. Better than Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith.
What about Attack of the Clones?
And Attack of the Clones. Thanks to history, we can look back and we can say that is a better Star Wars trilogy than J.J. and Rian Johnson.
Would you say that's a better Star Wars trilogy or just a better trilogy?
Star Wars trilogy.
Star Wars trilogy. So the key
Star
phrase,
Wars
Star
trilogy.
Wars. Okay. I would agree with you, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Trilogy in general, just as movies?
Well, we haven't seen,
No.
what was it, Rise of the Skywalker?
Yeah.
We haven't seen that yet. But I feel confident in saying that the OG George Lucas prequel trilogy, 1 through 3, will hold up and be better than, 7 through 10?
That's so sad.
I mean, it's just my opinion.
That's just so sad because we watched a movie this past weekend that is considered to be the ending of the Star Wars of our generation. And if this is any, indication of what's to come in the MCU, we're going to have nothing but pieces of shit for the next 20 years, and that's going to fucking suck. So let's get into that. Let's talk about Endgame. And we're not going to just talk about what happened in the movie and what we thought. We're going to kind of breeze over that. What we're really going to talk about is what we want to happen. If we were Kevin Feige, what we would do in the next phase or multiple phases. I only got through one phase because I went kind of deep into it. Quinn probably is going to go a little farther. He's going to stretch a little longer. But that's what we're going to do. What we would do if we were Kevin Feige. And, do you want me to go first or you want to go first? What do you think about the movie?
Well,
what do you think about it?
What do I think? What did I think about Endgame?
Yeah. Go off on it.
Endgame, if we're going to say Infinity War was a great movie, but Endgame was Empire Strike Back and Return of the Jedi rolled into one.
Wow. Bold statements. Nothing but hot takes here on the Closers Podcast.
Damn near every payoff any Marvel fan could have wanted out of a Marvel movie they got out of Marvel's Avengers Infinity War and Marvel's Avengers Endgame. It was amazing. It should be nominated for Best Picture Oscar.
I agree.
Especially since how much money it's going to make.
Oh yeah. Oh, they already is. What did it eclipse? How much money?
Over $1 billion.
Over $1 billion.
Over 1 weekend.
Over 1 weekend, $1 billion.
Yeah.
That is fucking.
I believe
crazy.
it took Captain Marvel 40 days to break $1 billion, and it took Avengers Endgame the weekend.
That is fucking crazy. Holy shit.
That's insane.
Just looking at the spectacle of this movie and what it means for our modern culture is insane to me, because it's taken 11 years, 10 years to get to this point. Starting with Iron Man, who before that movie, no one gave a fuck about Iron Man. Culturally, to see where we were back then and where we are now. I was 12 years old when Iron Man came out, and I barely even knew who Iron Man was, and I was a pretty big, geek at the time with Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, all that type of stuff. I was huge into that. I was in elementary school, Who wasn't into that? You didn't have a childhood if you weren't into that type of stuff. But I didn't even know who he was. And now, these are all household names. The Guardians of the Galaxy now are just, people just know who they are.
Yeah.
People love them. It gives you a lot of hope thinking like all these minor characters in the MCU are also going to get their time to shine.
You could reach into the far obscurities of the Marvel Universe and find feature films.
Exactly. So
franchises.
And that it'll never end. That's the thing. But
hopefully,
what makes me a little scared is just everyone is always talking about Marvel fatigue. You know, the oversaturation of Marvel movies and just kind of like the formulaicness of those movies in the past phases and stuff.
You know, I have a hard time. I have a hard time subscribing to that. You know, what Marvel stories are? It's you know, it's modern mythology.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before Vikings raided the shores of, you know, France to pillage and stuff, they regaled each other with tales of triumphs of Thor.
Right.
Well, what are we watching today?
Thor.
Exactly. So, you know, it's lasted thousands of years.
Sure.
And it's going to last thousands more. It's made for this medium. It just translates too well.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as long as their people can aspire for greater things, then the superhero genre will continue to thrive.
No, and I agree. But I also believe that if, you know, people, you know, I see all these articles doing research for this podcast. I've been doing a bunch of research for it, and I just keep seeing these articles like, who's the next Iron Man? Who's the next Captain America of this universe? Who's the next, you know, Hulk? Who's going to be the next Black Widow? And to me,
so much of that was, you know, Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly.
So much of that was the casting.
Yeah, like there's not going to be another one. Like there's not another Iron Man. Like that's it. He's gone. And you have to get another dynamic going between these characters. You can't fit them into the molds of Captain America and Iron Man and Black Widow and expect everyone to be like, oh, there's the replacements, and they act as, you know, it's the same camaraderie. It's not going to be the same.
You have to give. You know, you have to give these characters a few movies to gel.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a time before the first Avengers where people were like, how is this going to work?
Yeah, exactly.
They already had like 1 or 2 Iron Man movies, Captain America, Thor, The Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton.
With Ed Norton, oh, God.
You know, those were 4 franchises, and they're like, you know, people were skeptical it would work.
Yeah.
So you got to give it time. I mean, and so much of it relies on casting.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
There can never be another Iron Man. Chris Evans is always the OG Cap. But think about the new faces of Marvel going forward. Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther.
Tom Holland.
$1 billion movie.
Yep.
Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, another $1 billion movie. Your two faces going forward, individually, both have $1 billion franchises. So I think critics, you know, that sort of critique is unwarranted.
My thing is, they just can't do the same thing in the next movies where they all build up to this point. And we're going to get into that. Actually, probably starting right now. I don't think we need to say much more. I mean, everything's already said. Endgame's amazing. It's a pinnacle of its time.
It's amazing. It's a cultural event. Honest to God, it's a cultural event. You know, when 40 years from now, when they make, you know, their version of Stranger Things, you know, teenagers will be reflecting on Endgame.
Exactly. Stranger Things.
Yeah. You know, every generation has its, like, Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
There was Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Okay,
and then now we have Stranger Things.
Today,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, I understand. I agree. I think cinematography speaking, it's one of the best movies in that regard that I've seen in a long time. The effects and the CGI.
It should be nominated for several Oscars.
Yeah, it's just
CGI amongst them, and Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yes.
The ability to tie 22 films together in one crescendo deserves recognition.
It's amazing.
It deserves Best Picture nomination.
Yep.
It also deserves probably Best Supporting Actor.
And who?
Robert Downey Jr.
Wow. Supporting?
Yeah.
Who's main actor? Chris Evans? No.
I don't know if you could really put
I don't think there is one.
I don't know. I think he'd win if he was a supporting actor. I think if you put it as a lead, the Academy is so
Staunch.
resentful against the superhero genre.
Yeah.
They'd be like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
But as a supporting, they'd give it to him, and it'd just be a win.
No, I
And
agree.
we'd take it.
You're right. And
it'd
So-
be sick.
So do you want to go? Do you want to start us off, or do you want me to start us off?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to start by talking about what I would do if I was Kevin Feige. So we have Spider-Man: Far From Home coming out later this year. We already kind of know what's going to be happening in that movie. Generally, there might be some surprises, but this is probably the shortest synopsis that I'm going to give in the next couple minutes. So, to end Phase 3, we got Far From Home. It establishes Spider-Man and Peter Parker as a true superhero that doesn't need help from any other hero. It introduces Harry and Norman Osborn, not as villains, but just as characters. Because there was that 5-year gap in Endgame where, they felt like they lost. All the heroes felt like they lost. A lot of the people that Peter Parker went to high school with graduated high school and moved on with their lives. And then now there's a new crop of kids that he's going to have to get to know and stuff now that Peter Parker and his friends are back post-snap. And one of those people is going to be Harry Osborn. And his dad, Norman Osborn's going to rise to, prominence while, Tony Stark has taken a step back and he kind of secludes himself with his daughter and, Gwyneth Paltrow, right? That's her name? Is that who is?
Pepper Potts?
Pepper Potts, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Secludes himself with them out by, the lake or whatever. In that time, Norman Osborn kind of gets Oscorp going and stuff. So you see the wheels turning there. Then you see that Mysterio gets set up as the leader of the Sinister Six. Everything's pointing to that. So that's my first one. Second movie, Phase 4. Now, this is where it gets crazy. I took a lot of liberties with this, and I'm very happy about it.
Well, wait. Let's talk about Spider-Man real quick.
Okay.
Because I don't think that's going to happen at all.
Okay.
I think
That's fine.
I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there's going to be any ties to.
Well, it's not what I think is going to happen. That's what I would do.
Oh, it's what you.
That's
Well, I felt like since it's coming out in 2 months, I kind of just went off what they released, so I didn't really take it into account pretty much. But I don't think it's going to introduce Norman Osborn or Harry. I don't think it's going to introduce the Osborns at all. I think it's really just going to focus on Spider-Man. Peter Parker really accepting the mantle as, being one of the Marvel Universe's, the face of the Marvel Universe.
Right.
Or one of.
Right.
And I think Mysterio will live, and it'll plant the seeds for the Sinister Six. But I don't think it'll have anything to do with the Osborns.
Well, I just believe that Harry's going to be in it, or Norman, or both, just because there's been pictures on set of this kid that looks about Peter Parker's age. It looks like he could be a Harry, and that's with the group. And they hang out. There's pictures of them hanging out and stuff, in France while they're filming or wherever
Maybe.
they were.
Yeah.
So it looks like that could be a possibility. Maybe it's just a new kid, and
we
they
know
just write him off. Or
we know
whatever.
Nick Fury and Maria Hill of S.H.I.E.L.D. are in it, or formerly of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Here's my prediction. Maria Hill is a Skrull.
Wow. Bold move.
And perhaps so is Flash Thompson.
Bolder move. Wow. Well,
that's my prediction for Far From Home. Perhaps a Skrull.
Because I know where you're going with
Maybe a Skrull reveal in the end credits scene.
That's crazy. All right, I'm going to go through my Phase 4, what I would do if I was Kevin Feige list. And I would start, if I was Kevin Feige, with Black Widow in 2020.
Did you pick these movies based off what's already going to be released for the next phase? Okay.
Yeah, I went with, and then I took some liberties too. I threw a couple movies in that I would want, but I kept the ones that are going to come out. I just didn't get to Shang-Chi just because I didn't really know much about him and I was running out of time.
I did that for the next phase. I did that for Phase 5, but for Phase 4 I just stuck to what's going to be released.
Okay. So with Black Widow, this is my synopsis. It shows her getting a weaker variation of the super soldier serum via the KGB/Hydra. I don't know which one she worked for before she joined S.H.I.E.L.D., but whichever agency she was with the Russians at the time. before betraying them, and then years later she joins newly formed S.H.I.E.L.D. With S.H.I.E.L.D., she informs them of intel she gained from her time with the KGB/Hydra, in which they believed that there were higher beings that were walking amongst humans hidden in plain sight across the globe. These beings possess great power and turn out to be the Elementals. And Nick Fury sends her and Clint Barton to Budapest, where the only lead that they have on one of these Elementals is, but it turns out to be a powerful deviant. Which, for anybody who doesn't know, the deviants are like the enemies of the Elementals, so they're like the counterparts to them. Let's see. They also have to fight off KGB/Hydra agents in their pursuit of the deviant. In the end, the deviant gets bested by Natasha and Clint, with the help from an actual elemental, Icarus, or better known as Icarus. Both Clint and Nat try to persuade Icarus to come with them and join S.H.I.E.L.D. and be, kind of a protector, kind of like how Nick Fury wanted Captain Marvel to be the protector of Earth. But he explains that he is the only... sorry, I said elemental this whole fucking time. It's an eternal. Sorry. God damn it. I'm such a fucking idiot. Okay.
I wasn't going to say nothing. I was just sitting there thinking, like, did he say elemental?
No, I said eternal. I said elemental, but it's an eternal. I don't know why I typed that in. Fuck. Okay. He explains that he's the only eternal left and is the last line of defense against the deviants to protect Earth. And he doesn't give Clint or Nat a way to contact him. So it ends that way. Obviously, in that movie, there's going to be backstory stuff regarding Black Widow. You're going to find out more about her. But that's obvious to me. So I just wrote down the basic plot, what's going to happen. And that's how it connects to Phase 4. Because you set up that Eternals are a thing. Right? So then in Black Panther 2, which would come out in 2020, that would be the next movie. Or actually, no. 2020 would be Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange 2. Okay, we've had to cut so many times because customers keep coming into the store after hours for some reason. Okay, so I keep trying to talk about Doctor Strange 2. So let me try this synopsis.
I think you're going into the nightmare realm, if I can guesstimate.
Yes. So basically, let's see. So he tries to go back and look through time and do a lot of things with time and different realms and such because
time.
Because after Infinity War and Endgame, like there's a lot more possibilities to go and explore those realms. So he does that, and because he does that, he starts having more and more and more vivid and disturbing nightmares. And when he tries to sleep, of course, and in those nightmares, he sees a pale white man. In a lot of them, in a lot of his nightmares, and he also he has one nightmare where he sees the Earth being enveloped by a gigantic cosmic being, which is Galactus. And being the genius that he is, he quickly is able to determine that his explorations into these various realms and his dreams are correlated. So Strange hypothesizes that it's a specific being that is attacking his consciousness while he sleeps. So he enlists the help of Bruce Banner in order to create a machine that allows Strange to stay fully conscious while also being able to sleep, which allows him to confront the pale man, better known as Nightmare. And Nightmare bests Strange and tells Strange that Strange himself trespassing into Nightmare's lands now forces Nightmare to have Strange pay the price, which means that Strange would slowly go insane because he went into the realm of nightmares without being invited or whatever.
Yeah.
Strange eventually goes into the Nightmare realm and defeats Nightmare and regains his usual narcissistic composure. It is also shown in the end credits that Baron Mordo, or actually, I'm going to say that for a second. I'll say it. Baron Mordo, which if you remember in the first Doctor Strange, was like the dude that kind of is helping train Doctor Strange for a time, and then he leaves because he's a really traditionalist, and he gets mad that he wasn't chosen to be the next bearer of the Time Stone.
Because Doctor Strange, he felt abused the Time Stone, and then when he found out the Ancient One had also abused it, he felt like everything was a lie.
Exactly. So he leaves, and you see him arriving in Atlantis. and you see Namor.
Whoa.
And they shake hands.
Whoa.
And that's the end of that. That's the end credit scene of that. And then it jumps to Black Panther 2, which establishes Black Panther as an experienced king of Wakanda. This would come out in 2021. Namor is introduced as the king of the long-hidden city of Atlantis. Namor and T'Challa agree to form an alliance. Or whatever his name is. I don't fucking know.
T'Challa, bro.
T'Challa, okay.
T'Challa.
Chinchilla. T'Challa. Agree to form an alliance.
Wakanada?
So they agree to form an alliance, but throughout the movie, it grows apparent that Namor is trying to take over Wakanda by getting close to T'Challa. The movie ends with T'Challa besting Namor, but Namor declares war against Wakanda, vowing that he has more firepower than Wakanda could handle. End credits scene is Namor talking to a chained-up Cersei, which is Angelina Jolie, about helping him destroy Wakanda in exchange for her freedom. And then, which if anybody doesn't know this, Cersei is a Eternal, not an Elemental, an Eternal. She is an Eternal.
Elementals, T'Chillas.
Yeah, Chinchillas. And then we have
Guardians universe.
And then we have Guardians 3 in 2021. So the group plus Thor go searching across the galaxy for Gamora. They determine that she is on one of the home planets of the Skrulls, which have regained footing again in the galaxy since Captain Marvel and now inhabit multiple planets. They have Gamora captured, and the Guardians attempt to save her. However, they get caught and are imprisoned alongside Gamora. All the Guardians are forced to do hard manual labor outdoors as a punishment for captivity when Silver Surfer streaks across the sky. Gamora and Nebula, in disbelief of what they witnessed, urge the group to escape the planet at any cost. Because Thanos would often talk about Galactus and Silver Surfer as mere fables, but then they see that in the sky and they're like, holy shit, everything that they said about those two beings are true. So they try to leave the planet. The rest of the movie revolves around the Guardians escaping from the Skrull planet before the Galactus devours it. As the Guardians leave the planet in the nick of time, Silver Surfer attempts to stop them from leaving, but once realizing Thor is on board, allows them to leave with a message. There is no escaping Galactus, for Galactus is death.
Whoa. And
then you jump to Fantastic Four, which comes out in 2021.
You're going all in.
I'm going all in
on the Fox acquisitions.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Oh, I'm jumping in.
Wow.
Because you gotta. To me, I feel like you gotta establish it at some point. You can't wait. To me, I feel like why not? They don't even need to be like the prime main and people. They don't even have to be antagonists. Just they can be wedged in. And
you really want to see Mole Man, don't you?
Oh, you just wait.
You want to see Rainn Wilson as Mole Man, don't you?
So Fantastic Four. Bruce Banner opens the Tony Stark Memorial Institute, a science and technical academy for the brightest minds in the world to further their knowledge. Reed Richards, a Northern California native, transfers from...
Is that canon?
That is canon. I looked it up. He's from Central City, California, which isn't a real city, I don't think. So I'm assuming he's NorCal. So...
Are there any confirmed NorCal superheroes?
Bruce Banner.
He's New Mexico.
Bruce Banner?
New Mexico.
I thought he was San Francisco.
New Mexico.
Ant-Man.
Scott Lang Ant-Man.
Oh. That's it. That's all I know.
I'm sure there's more.
There's got to be more.
My bad. Please continue.
So Reed Richards, a California native, transfers from Stanford University in order to attend the newly founded school. He reunites and moves in with his childhood best friend, Ben Grimm, who moved to New York shortly after graduating high school. Richards meets Susan Storm, who takes care of her younger brother, Johnny, in Long Island. It's obvious what happened that's next. They gain their powers via a scientific accident or something. And in the end, they fight the Mole Man, who is played by Rainn Wilson, yes, who himself is a deviant. Although this time, no Eternal comes to their rescue. Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben are taken in by Bruce Banner and the Avengers so they can be watched, given their new fangled powers. After a certain time of deliberation, Nick Fury probably in a post-credit scene, sends them to Wakanda in order to help against the war between Atlantis and Wakanda and aid Black Panther. And then in Black Panther 3, Namor wages war against Wakanda, and the combination of Cersei, Namor, Baron Mordo, and the Atlanteans' technology shows to be too much for Black Panther, the Fantastic Four, a weak Doctor Strange, and the Wakandan army. During the battle, the heroes are pushed to the edge of defeat before Icarus comes back and saves them through, I haven't thought that far, but basically Icarus would come back, turn Cersei onto his side, Namor would be bested, but not killed, but just put back in Atlantis, and they'd find a way to keep him at bay. And then after that, you delve into the Galactus arc. You can go a lot of different ways after that, but it establishes more. What I want to see, and I already talked to Quinn about this, I want to see long-standing villains. We had one in the first 3 phases of the MCU, which is Thanos. That's the only one that lasted, and Loki, but Loki was more an anti-hero. And them two are the only ones that lasted the entire series, really.
Baron Mordo is still alive.
Baron Mordo, but he's not really a villain. He just was like, I don't like you guys anymore, and he left.
He became one at the end credits scene.
Yeah. So, to me, I want to see more villains that actually are more of a thorn in these heroes' sides, as opposed to them just being bested in one movie and you never hear from them again. I want to see ones that kind of stand the test of time and actually show that they can be rivals, not just villains. And that's the key. I feel like, what's his name? Namor,
the Submariner.
I feel like he could be an equal, a rival to T'Challa, not just a villain in a movie and then they just discard him after. So that's what I kind of tried to focus on, and I also wanted the Black Widow movie to make sense. So that's why I feel like her movie could really bring in the Eternals. So that's really where I'm at, and hope you guys enjoyed that.
Is that your Phase 4?
That's my Phase 4, but I haven't finished all of Phase 4 because there's just one more movie I'd have to do, or 2 more movies I'd have to do for Phase 4.
Okay.
So, which would have been Spider-Man 3, or the next Spider-Man movie, and probably the Eternals would end Phase 4. So
interesting. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll get into my Phase 4. Technically Phase 3 ends with Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't think that's going to do much except for set up Sinister Six, and I think, like I said earlier, Maria Hill, or one of the little group of friends of Peter Parker's, maybe Flash Thompson, will turn out to be a Skrull. I think we're really in Phase 4. We're going to look at the Secret Invasion storyline from the comics. So after Spider-Man 3, what we're going to do before we get into Secret Invasion is we're going to go to the Eternals.
Oh.
And
wow.
I don't believe the Eternals is going to be connected to the main timeline directly. I believe what the Eternals essentially is going to do is going to set up a prequel trilogy, much like the George Lucas prequel trilogy. And instead of it being the origin of Darth Vader, it's going to be the origin of Thanos. So the Eternals will be like the Phantom Menace for Thanos. And that's pretty much what's going to set up. Now, the Eternals, from the lore, are created by celestial meddling in Terran DNA, Terran being human. That celestial meddling results in, 3 classes: Eternal, Deviant, and, your standard human. The Eternals end up having a civil war with each other. Some go to Titan, some stay on Earth. I believe the ones that stay on Earth become the basis for what would be Greek mythology. Yeah. And the ones that go to Titan are the ones that offshoot Thanos. So I think that's going to be what the Eternals is going to be about, essentially. Then after the Eternals, we got Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. I don't believe this is going to be directly connected to anything major within the overlapping story arc that is being Secret Invasion. I think it's going to be fairly, independent.
Because that's what yours would lead up to, right? Secret Invasion.
Yeah, that's where I think. Well, that's also where I think they're gonna go. So I'm just gonna follow suit.
Would you do Secret Invasion though?
Well, it's already been set up. It's already been set up.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I feel that way by Captain Marvel. I feel like it's already set up Secret Invasion. And so that's where I think they're going. And it's just how I would, traverse those roads. Yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, I believe, is going to take place in Northern California. I believe it's going to take place in San Francisco. Shang-Chi is a ode to Bruce Lee. So I believe it's going to take place in the Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area, where Bruce Lee got started himself. So I think that's going to be super cool, especially if they do it right.
What's the plot?
I don't know the plot, honestly, because I don't know. I haven't read a single Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu comic. I haven't at all, to be honest with you. So I just hope it's rad. I just hope it's cool. After Shang-Chi, we're looking at Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think this is mostly going to focus on Rocket. At least this is the direction I would go. I haven't thought too much about the searching for Gamora thing just because I just don't know how much I'm invested in it. I just kind of want to see something different. And instead, I would choose to follow up on the origins of Rocket Raccoon. And I would introduce the High Evolutionary, who is a deep canon character who did a bunch of DNA meddling with creatures and created like a whole cornucopia of characters similar to Rocket, of different animals and such. Interesting characters that we could see.
That's crazy. It's funny because the Eternal, Cersei, has a thing for turning people into animals.
Yeah.
So she could maybe play a slight role into that. If you
it's possible. I see the Eternals as a cosmic franchise. I don't really see it as something that takes place on Earth.
Well, I read up on it. I didn't know anything about the Eternals before I did this research for the podcast, and I just saw that a lot of there was Eternals that felt tied to Earth, and they're the kind of like the guardians, the protectors of Earth. And so that's why I kept Cersei and Icarus on Earth. But there are some that are out in the cosmos
that go to
left.
Titan.
Yeah, that are from Titan and all that stuff.
And establish like their own society. And
stuff. So that's why I just mentioned the ones that were from Earth specifically. But there are other ones. And
now, if they do stay on Earth, like you're saying they do, I think they would include Hercules into that mix.
Oh, that'd be prime.
The Prince of Power.
That'd be sick.
How cool would it be to get a legit Hercules?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No. No. I don't know who would play good Hercules. You know what? I think Luke Evans, who played Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, would play a good Hercules. I also think Henry Cavill, who played Superman, would play a good Hercules.
He would switch teams.
Why not, man? Why not? Why not, live in both worlds? Does it have to be a competition? No. Because we clearly know who's better.
That's true. It's over. It's over. Remember, 7 years ago when everyone was like, oh, it's a race. DC's got to match Marvel. They got to go toe for toe. And then
we really found out what happened is when Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice came out the same year as Captain America Civil War. Two movies that shared too much in common. Yeah. And it was a direct...
it was a direct
battle.
Yeah.
And Captain America Civil War won by first round TKO.
It was like CM Punk versus Mickey Gall.
No, it was like Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. It was insane. But anyway, let me get back to my thing. So after Guardians, I don't think we're going to set up too much about the Secret Invasion. I think I'd like to see James Gunn continue to get weirder. There's so many weird corners of the MCU.
Yeah.
and bringing in the high evolutionary and focusing on the origin of Rocket Raccoon. You could also bring in Howard the Duck.
Dude, I would love to see Howard the Duck get put in there.
You know, I really don't care. I think it'd be cool to see Chris Hemsworth as Thor again in Guardians 3, but I think Chris Hemsworth is great enough to carry
his own
to continue it, especially after Thor Ragnarok. It feels like the character's really just getting started.
Exactly.
So
Taika Waititi?
Taika
Waititi should just be his character. They should just be like, here, you direct and write whatever you want to do with it, and just try to fit it into these main points, and that's it.
In my Guardians 3 kind of idea, you know, Thor kind of departs from the Guardians rather kind of quickly, and just kind of goes off, does his own thing, and the Guardians, you know, they meddle with the high evolutionary, and we get to meet a whole cast of characters, new characters and stuff. After Guardians 3, Black Widow. It's a prequel. Takes place. It takes place right after Natasha Romanoff has left the KGB, and she's being hunted by another Black Widow, and she's being hunted by other canon Russian characters and other hired mercenaries like Taskmaster. Out to get her, and she's you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. is also kind of in the mix to get her involved. So you have Samuel Jackson coming back, maybe, you know, Phil Coulson coming back.
Phil Coulson, we say, and then of course you'd have Clint Barton. Make an appearance.
And my idea is that, or in my head, Black Widow somehow discovers the Skrulls are also intermingled in the KGB, and she's trying to get out of it. Or something. Something happens like that. Kind of X-Files-ish.
Yeah.
I just want it to be weird. And so that's the Black Widow prequel. When we get into Doctor Strange 2, this is where we start to set up the Fox acquisition, but we don't do it with any direct character from Fox yet. In Doctor Strange 2, we, like Marco did, go into the Nightmare Realm. But Doctor Strange isn't alone in the movie. With Doctor Strange is the Scarlet Witch.
I love it. My girl Elizabeth Olsen.
And Scarlet Witch is, you know, she's trying to understand, trying to get a better handle on her powers because her powers are so diverse. So Doctor Strange is teaching her how to control chaos magic. But while doing this, she accidentally goes into the Crimson Realm. The Crimson Realm, or the Crimson Dimension, is ruled by, like, the demon deity Cynarak. The Crimson Gem of Cynarak is what gives power to Cain Marko. Cain Marko is
my man,
the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut?
Who is the stepbrother of Charles Xavier.
Wait, is that Juggernaut like Juggernaut?
The
like,
Juggernaut. The unstoppable Juggernaut.
From X-Men.
From X-Men.
Woo!
You don't bring in the Juggernaut yet, but you bring in the source that brings in his power.
Right.
And
that's fucking crazy.
You just kind of deal with that. I don't know why I said the Nightmare Realm earlier. Instead, we do the Crimson Dimension. Cynarak.
You just like the Nightmare Realm.
I liked it so much, it kind of just bled over. I wrote it down because I was like, cool.
I just like the Nightmare Realm because I remember us having a conversation
Yeah.
about how the Marvel Cinematic Universe hasn't done a horror movie yet.
Yeah.
And I was just, the whole time I was typing that synopsis, I was just like, this could easily be a horror movie. Where a weak Doctor Strange has to.
Well,
like,
you know who
who
directed the first Doctor Strange? Scott Derrickson also did in the horror movie Sinister.
Oh, really?
So, you know, those are kind of very much his roots.
Oh, that would be fucking amazing.
So I think I read somewhere that the Nightmare Realm is what they're gonna do.
I read that that's something he wants to do, but he doesn't know if if like Kevin Feige and
Disney's going to be like, yeah, let's do it.
But they have to go more R-rated.
If you've seen the Disney cartoon version of Sleepy Hollow, there's no way they can make anything as scary as that.
That's pretty scary.
Dude, that's pretty fucking scary. Trip out and watch that movie.
I'd rather not.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. But they got to get more adult with their movies. I mean, like, there's no way. I mean, they have the fucking, they have
for
all
sure.
these new acquisitions, like these mature adult acquisitions.
Yeah.
They have to kind of go that route now. Anyways, what were you
So
saying?
that's what we do in Doctor Strange. Scarlet Witch is such a powerful character. I think Elizabeth Olsen's such a talented actress. I think you got to blow that up into just people got to see it. People got to see it,
Yeah.
and
Make her more prominent.
yeah, and Cinerak, man. Nothing more metal in Cinerak for Marvel fans. And then we end Phase 4 on the movie side with Black Panther 2. I don't know much about the lore of Black Panther, to be honest with you, to really find something from his specific canon,
Right.
or his rogue gallery.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of went the cheesy route and like you, and chose Namor,
Yeah.
the Submariner. But I believe, if I remember correctly, his ultimate universe origin was that, he was discovered on an archaeological dig that he was actually a war criminal of Atlantis when Atlantis was a real civilization. And he was locked away. And he's discovered by, a group of archaeologists.
Uh-huh.
And I think it'd be cool if those archaeologists were Wakandan.
That would be cool.
And they kind of set him free, and he threatens to drown the world or something.
Oh shit.
And so
He's straight from the 1950s. I'm gonna drown the world. Hey?
You Black Panther,
Yeah.
you're going down.
Oh well, if he's from the 1950s, he would say some other shit. But yeah. No, that's cool. I like it.
So that would be my Phase 4. And now that's the movie version. Now we do know that the MCU is in fact going to have 6-episode miniseries, and I did kind of think about that. Now we know there's going to be a Loki miniseries. I don't know if that's going to have main continuity to My Secret Invasion, but when instead of that opens up the multiverse of the MCU, introducing us to characters like America Chavez, aka Miss America.
What? That's a character?
Yeah.
How can a character named Chavez be Miss America? That doesn't make no goddamn sense.
Also introducing us to Hyperion, and perhaps the Squadron Supreme of America, which is like the MCU version of the Justice League. And characters like Nighthawk.
How would he introduce us
Power
to that?
Princess. Because they're from a different universe. So if Loki, Loki has the Space Stone.
Uh-huh.
So Loki can, I don't necessarily know if that means he can traverse to parallel universes or to other universes, but what we do know is that he can traverse anywhere in the universe with the Space Stone. That's what it allows. So what kind of havoc can Loki cause now that he has one of the Infinity Gems in a fractured timeline?
Right.
So that's what I think. That's what I think I would do with that. Is kind of traverse the multiverse.
Uh
huh. Now we also have Scarlet Witch and the Scarlet Witch WandaVision television show. I think that could actually be really dark.
Really?
Yes,
because I think it's like a rom-com.
No, I think it's all going to be a manifestation of what Scarlet Witch, what her ideal life would be. But I think what it's really going to be is a tragedy. And I think that could be the demise of her character. I think I would have it take place after Doctor Strange 2. And I think maybe, her powers start to drive her mad.
Uh-huh. And she becomes like a villain?
I don't know if she becomes she becomes a villain.
That'd be wild.
I'm going to call her Audible. I didn't think about that earlier, but yep, now she's a villain.
But how would Vision
Vision is just a manifestation of her mind.
Oh, okay. So it's one of those things like she's like when no one else is around and she starts talking to Vision and he's there, but he's not actually there. It's just in her mind. He's still present.
Yeah.
Okay, and then she becomes a villain, and then Doctor Strange has to take her out, and they do inter-realm battles and crazy shit.
No, I think you end her show with her, leaning towards that villainy side,
killing herself.
No, I think she just leans towards that villainous side that, her character in the canon has gone down that path before. And that's kind of how the show ends. Then you got the Hawkeye show.
I love Hawkeye's my favorite character.
And I think this is going to be the retirement of Clint Barton, these 6 episodes. And I think it's just going to be archery goodness. And he's going to pass the mantle to Kate Bishop in this series.
How do you think Kate Bishop is even going to get introduced?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Who do you want to play her?
I have no idea. It depends.
If
you could get like a franchise face, that would change my entire game plan. Who would you think?
I would gotta go with my girl from Stranger Things. What's her name?
I can't remember.
We would talk about it all the fucking time. I have the
Natalie
Dyer.
Yeah. The older sister.
Yep, Natalie Dyer.
You would want her as Kate Bishop?
I just want to see more of her. I just love her so. I love her so much. I honestly just love her so much. I want to just see more. But not on a serious note, like somebody who I seriously could see being Kate Bishop. If Daisy Ridley wasn't in Star Wars, she would be a fucking perfect.
Dude, I knew you were gonna go down that path.
If she wasn't in Star Wars, she'd be perfect. But she is, so I'm not. So I don't. She's out of the running. She would have been number 1, but she's out of the running.
Sick.
So, which leaves.
There's also the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. And what I think this is going to do is going to have to deal with a lot of Skrulls. I think this is going to be a real Skrull-heavy one. And I think it's going to feature what would be left to S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. We're going to start to see the Skrulls heavily. At least that's what I would do.
So could you go down that rabbit hole a little bit of like what happened to S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because I personally never knew what happened. Like one day it was there and the next day it was gone. So.
Well, that happened in Winter Soldier.
I never watched that movie.
They found out. You never saw Winter Soldier?
No.
Dude, Winter Soldier is one of the top 5 best MCU movies.
I know. I know what happens in it other than the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, so I was just like, Are you okay? Goddamn.
I can't believe it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, you have robbed yourself of something truly great.
I'll just watch it when I get home.
You need to. Winter Soldier is sick. Like, I'm kind of stunned we're even having this conversation, and you haven't even seen Winter Soldier.
Dude, I just was told everything that happened. I probably was told that S.H.I.E.L.D. dissolves in that movie, but I just never, I just forgot. I mean, it came out, 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
Yeah. So here's what I have happening at the end of that show. You find out that the Falcon, formerly the Falcon, Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, Bucky finds out at the end of this 6-episode series that Sam Wilson is a Skrull.
So there is no Sam Wilson, or just or what?
That Sam Wilson is a Skrull, and Bucky has to take him out.
But does that mean that there is an actual Sam Wilson who has been there this whole time?
Possibly. Maybe he died. I don't know. We'd have to work that out in the writers' room. But but for the sake of what would have been an hour-long podcast,
yeah,
Captain America Sam Wilson, formerly known as the Falcon, is a Skrull.
Okay.
And, just for the shock value, if you're like, oh my god,
yeah,
they've infiltrated. Now, this only works if it's done like the Skrulls are treated like an X-Files alien. If they're treated like they were in Captain Marvel,
yeah,
where we have this sympathy towards them, which I understand why they did, but it doesn't work for this.
I just believe that
what we do establish is that the Skrulls lost their home world. We don't establish why. Galactus. But the Skrulls lost their home world.
I thought they lost it to the Kree.
In the lore, I believe it's Galactus.
No, it is Galactus. That's why I added it in mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lose their home world to the Galactus, and they're kind of infiltrating other ones to find their own.
Yeah.
So that's my end of Phase 4 is Captain America, Sam Wilson, Skrull.
Wow.
That's before Phase 5 starts. Did you do any thinking on what Phase 5 would have been?
I did not go into Phase 5 at all. The end of Phase 6 I know would be that everybody teaming up to take on Galactus. Doctor Doom is going to get thrown in. It's going to be crazy because
I didn't even go that route. Well, I actually stayed more Earthbound.
Really? I started Earth and then I went farther out, but there's different fronts. There's multiple fronts with shit just popping off at the same time. Where like Fantastic Four is tied up with Doctor Doom, so they can't do a whole lot with Galactus, and then like the Sinister Six are going to town against Spider-Man, so now he's tied up, and like Galactus is going to shit, and it's only Guardians of the Galaxy and like Captain Marvel and Thor, and like things are looking grim, and the Celestials are trying to do, or not the Celestials, the fucking Eternals are trying to do everything that they can to like help everybody, and like Black Panthers, that's I want to see chaos, so that's what I want to see at the end of Phase 6. But Phase 5 I haven't thought about. I just know the end result.
Would you mind if I got into my Phase 5?
Oh, of course, yeah. Do what you want.
So my Phase 5 begins with Cap Marvel 2. And what Cap Marvel 2 is essentially like the Attack of the Clones version of this, where it's just a straight war. The Kree Skrull War is just in full chaos mode. And Captain Marvel is just in the middle of it. And there are other Kree warriors coming up too. One of them, I believe, is called Phyla-Vell, who is the daughter of the original... Well, they changed the origin story of the original Captain Marvel for the movies, obviously, so we'd have to change this. Her name's Phyla-Vell, and, she was the daughter of what was Captain Marvel, and she believes, she should have inherited the mantle and stuff. She, she's formidable. She has a very similar power set to Captain Marvel, I believe. It'd just be gnarly. So they would fight. Kree Skrull War breaking out. Captain Marvel starts to learn about the full scale of the Skrull invasion going to Earth. So Captain Marvel 2 ends with her, leaving Skrull Kree space to return to Earth. Then we got Spider-Man 3.
Oh.
Which would be...
So a whole phase with no Spider-Man. That's interesting.
Yeah. Spider-Man 3, which is Peter Parker's senior year.
I like that.
And because he goes to like a MIT science school.
Yeah. The Tony Stark Memorial Institute.
He begins his senior year project at Oscorp.
Ooh.
His internship at Oscorp.
Spooky.
Where he interns under Otto Octavius.
Spookier. Ooh. That's sick.
And, kind of very similar to the video game that just came out.
Yeah.
And, Otto Octavius becomes Doc Ock. And so you have two core members of the Sinister Six already established. You already have three, that are going to be in a Vulture, Mysterio, and Otto Octavius. And you got to nail the casting for Otto Octavius.
Just
but anyway.
Bring back, what's his name? From
Alfred Molina?
Bring him back.
Nah, no way. Can't do that.
Bring back not Mark Ruffalo. Fucking, what's his name?
Abiato!
No, you got to bring back Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. And then we do Black Panther 3.
Oh.
Which, has to do with more Skrull stuff. And that's like the last big movie before Avengers 5. Which is Avengers 5 Secret Invasion. Full on. Just Secret Invasion stuff. And you find out the Avengers team in that movie. Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, War Machine, Valkyrie, and Captain America Bucky Barnes.
No Thor.
And you discover that War Machine is a Skrull.
War Machine? This whole time? He's been a Skrull ever since the first movie? That's fucking
I don't know.
crazy.
I was trying to think of somebody, and I was like, who can I make a Skrull?
That would be really, that'd be crazy if, like we talked about.
Especially if War Machine had a relationship
with
Captain Marvel, which was kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And he turns out to be a Skrull.
And she's like,
damn it, I've been fighting these bastards for 20 years.
Dude, but it's just interesting with Captain Marvel specifically because she started out her arc within the movies saving the Skrulls. So for her to now like have to fight against them, I can imagine character building wise would be a great catalyst for her to progress.
Yeah.
And become more of a leader on Earth specifically.
Yeah, and then you'd have
it'll take time, which
pretty much you'd have just hella Skrulls, Avengers fighting Skrulls. And then, that would end with Norman Osborn killing the Skrull Queen. and essentially starting the Dark Avengers. It will lead into the Dark Avengers.
You got to bring in the Fantastic Four before then.
No, bro.
Yes.
No, I don't think I do.
You do, because, okay, how can you talk about the Skrulls without talking about the Fantastic Four? Like, they go hand in hand, in my eyes. The lore of both of the race and that team are just so esteemed.
I feel like with Fantastic Four, there's so much more we could do with races like the Beyonders and Molecule Man. Owen Reese.
Molecule Man. Okay. No. Look, Joaquin Phoenix would be a great molecule.
Dr. Doom.
Well, yes, obviously Dr.
Galactus.
Obviously Dr. Doom. Yes.
There are more things for the Fantastic Four to get to. Anyway, so we end Phase 5 with in Eternals 2.
Wow.
Which just does more about Thanos' upbringing.
Just more about Thanos? Why would you need to know more about Thanos? I'm sorry.
Because he's like the dark. It'd be like, because Thanos is fucking metal.
Okay.
It ends with Thanos killing his mother.
Oh shit!
And you really see like, oh, Thanos is evil. You know, you're rising. You're witnessing the rise of evil.
Right.
And Phase 5, Thor 4 for Jane Foster Thor. Jane Foster has developed cancer, and as a result, the Odin sun gives her the power of Thor so that she may live. So we got Jane Foster Thor.
Jane Foster. Wait, the Jane Foster.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman
gets yoked out, super just ripped, and she's Thor, and it's super cool. It's super metal.
No way.
It would be freaking awesome.
Natalie Portman as.
Yeah, it'd be
Thor,
awesome.
That'd be insane.
It'd be sick.
A character that was supposed to be written out.
Exactly. We're going to bring her back, and she's going to be cooler than ever. And then, check this out. We end Phase 5 with Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3. Which...
what? How do you bring him in?
We just let Ryan Reynolds write whatever he wants, and then we just give him the full catalog of Marvel characters to use at his disposal.
The full catalog.
The full catalog.
So if he wants to use Brie Larson in her contract, her 6-movie contract.
I mean, that would have to be negotiated, but
okay,
we could work it out.
But like a random character, like fucking, like the Tinkerer, if he wanted to use that, like you'd be like, all right, whatever, like fucking use it.
And then Phase 6 would essentially focus on the Dark Avengers. And it would introduce the character Robert Reynolds, the Sentry. And the Dark Avengers would consist of Norman Osborn as the Iron Patriot, Namor, Baron Mordo. This is a formidable team. Baron Mordo, Scarlet Witch, Phyla Vell, who we introduced in Captain Marvel 2, and Red Hulk.
Red Hulk?
Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, played by William Hurt. We give him the chance to shine as Red Hulk.
Played by William Hurt?
Yeah, man.
What?
Full on.
Let me see. Who is this man?
He's been playing Thunderbolt Ross. Remember in Civil War where he like lays it out for the Avengers? This is what you gotta do.
This guy?
Yeah,
dude. He'd be dead by then.
No.
He's already like 57.
Oh, how dare. 57? That's a bit generous. I believe
he went
William
to
Hart.
Juilliard in the 70s, dude.
He went to Juilliard.
In the 70s.
But he went to Juilliard.
In the 70s, man. He's old.
Juilliard School of Arts out of Dubuque, Iowa.
He's 69 years old.
Oh, he could do it, bro. If
by Phase 5, he'll be like 92.
Nah.
Yeah,
nah.
Yeah.
Phase 6.
Oh my god. Dude, no.
We could always recast for Christ's sakes. I just think it'd be cool to get a Red Hulk in there, bring back Mark Ruffalo so we can get the World Breaker.
William Hurt, dude.
That's my Marvel
Maybe
future.
you can get William Hurt's son.
That's my Marvel future. I don't think we're going to see the Fantastic Four or the X-Men for another 10 years, man. I really don't.
Wow.
I really don't.
That's crazy.
And that's kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer. That's why I'm like, I want to go into it now. I don't want to wait.
In Kevin Feige, I trust, and you know what? I think that we have enough good stories out of the characters that we still retained. I mean, we only lost Black Widow, but we know we're getting a prequel. We lost Black Widow in the main timeline. We lost Tony Stark Iron Man. And we lost
Cap.
Steve Rogers Captain America.
But he said he might do cameos.
He might.
So,
did you hear today that they're doing a Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider show on Hulu?
What?
Yeah.
Robbie Reyes?
Yeah.
He's the one who played it on Agents of
Yeah,
S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
yeah.
Really? On Hulu?
Yeah.
Why the fuck would they do it on Hulu? Why not just wait till Disney Plus comes out?
I don't know. See, I was thinking the same thing. So, does that mean, because it's on Hulu, does that mean that it's MCU? Or not?
It would have to be.
MCU adjacent?
Well, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is MCU.
Yeah.
Maybe they have an agreement or something with Hulu, so like they'll put it out right now, and then once Disney Plus starts, then they'll just put it on Disney Plus or something. I don't know.
I have no idea.
That's fucking weird. I don't like that. I mean, I like the idea, but I don't like.
Is there any character not introduced in the movies from the comics that how bad you really want to see it? Like, that's who you really want to see within the next 10-year saga. The last 10-year saga, the Infinity Saga. For the next 10-year saga, what character do you want introduced?
Doctor Doom.
And who do you want to play him?
Doctor Doom, I want Joaquin Phoenix to play him.
Joaquin Phoenix. Wow. Amazing.
Imagine him as Doctor Doom. Holy fucking shit.
I would go Adam Driver.
I know that's your guy, but I feel like it's just too. That's the same reason why I don't want. What's her name? Fucking Kate. Hawkeye's protege. Kate Bishop. I don't want Kate Bishop to be played by Daisy Ridley. I wouldn't want Adam Driver to play Doctor Doom. I just feel like it's kind of oversaturation of the Disney brand at that point.
Because they're already affiliated with Star Wars Disney.
Exactly. Yeah. To me, that's why I'm just like.
I don't know. See, I think Adam Driver's filmography is diverse enough to where it would make sense. It'd be justifiable.
You think so?
Fuck yeah.
But to see him...
Black Klansman.
But to see him for another 10 years...
Black Klansman.
No, I understand. That was a good movie.
Black Klansman.
That's a good movie. But to see him for another 10 years...
Patterson.
As the main antagonist...
As Dr. Doom?
I don't know.
There is only Doom.
And if you're going to do Doctor Doom, you have to do Fantastic Four. You have to. That's it. There's no pussyfooting around where you're like, we're going to introduce Fantastic Four at the very end of Doctor Doom's arc, and so that way we have a future. Like, no. You have to do it at the same time. You have to. You have to do Doctor Doom justice, because he is the man. But to set up Doctor Doom as another Thanos, I feel like that's a mistake. They shouldn't make him out to be another Thanos. He's a Doctor Doom. He's not a Titan. He's not a Eternal. He's not.
He has possessed the power of a god on more than one occasion.
He has, but he's Doctor Doom. He's not Thanos.
Doom.
So as long as they don't go that route and try to make him out to be another Thanos, I'll be happy. Give him his own thing. Make him do his own thing. Make him a good guy. Start him out as a front runner to be like a Latvian like the president of Latvia, like a front runner for that, and he loses a race or something. I don't know.
I think if you're not going to introduce him in a Doctor Strange in a Fantastic Four movie, you introduce him in a Doctor Strange movie, because Doctor Doom has deep ties with the occult and sorcery. And especially Mephisto.
Oh, Mephisto. Yeah,
which would be sick to bring in, dude.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Mephisto's one of the, he's an all-time powerful villain in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. No, I agree. A Doctor Strange movie would be really, really cool. I've heard a theory that Baron Mordo would become Doctor Doom.
Ugh.
What do you think about that?
I hope not. I fucking hope not.
I don't like the actor to be Doctor Doom. I like him as Baron Mordo, but not as Doctor Doom.
No, I hope not. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
That'd be lame.
I agree. Not a fan of that.
Yeah.
But it looks as though we hit all the time we got for today.
Well, I got one question before we go.
Yeah.
How did you feel about your Raiders draft? If I could, get some.
Yeah. So real quick, Raiders draft.
That fourth pick, man, didn't see that coming.
Cleveland Farrell.
Fool.
Dude, look.
Fool. Yeah, the fourth pick.
Yes.
Fool.
I knew we were going to goof it up somehow. I just had a feeling. I don't really have much to say other than I hope he works out. He's a very high floor, low ceiling guy. So what you see is what you get with him.
You make him sound terrible.
No, he has a high floor, meaning like he's good now. Progression.
You're saying that he's at his peak.
Yeah. Yeah. He's that. Yeah. Like,
jeez.
You're not going to get much more out of him.
What did you think about Josh Jacobs?
I liked the pick at first, but now that I think about it and seeing how the second running back didn't come off the board until, 54th.
Yeah.
To the Eagles. I feel like there was better value to be had at that pick. We could have gotten the safety that we got at 27. We could have got him there.
You got the guy from Mississippi State, right?
Yeah.
Is that Jonathan Abram?
Abram, yeah.
He's a stud.
He's a stud. And I'm so happy we got him. He's my favorite pick.
Actually, I think my defending NFC West champions, Los Rams, got the better running back.
Who?
We got that kid, I believe.
You got him in the third round.
Henderson from Memphis.
Yeah, you did.
I think he's a better running back than Josh Jacobs.
He's a stud too.
We also got Taylor Rapp.
Yeah, you did.
Which I remember I mentioned him last time we talked about it.
You did mention Taylor Rapp. That's a good move. You also got my man in the 7th round. What's his fucking name? Linebacker. I forgot his name. God damn it. I'm going to edit this.
He has dreads.
He does have dreads.
I know who you're talking. Does he go to like North Dakota State or Dakota State?
No, he
South Dakota State?
No. Dakota Allen. He went to Texas Tech. He was a 7th round pick, almost Mr. Irrelevant, but he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. And look,
sell me on this pick.
I'll tell you right now. Will he start? No. Will he add depth to the linebacker's room? Yes. He's undersized, yes. But the things that this guy has had to go through. Starting at Texas Tech, getting in trouble.
What did he get in trouble for?
He burglary, I think.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad.
And then he got dropped from the team. He had to go to a community college, which he went to East Mississippi Community College or something. And then from there, he fought his way back onto Texas Tech. He got another shot, started, got drafted.
Sick.
So this guy has the heart of a lion. He has determination.
He has grit.
I
like this.
He's able to get through shit. I wanted the Raiders to get him, but they didn't. Rams got him, and I'm excited for you guys to have him. I'm happy that he's in California at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
sick.
Hopefully he's a story like some of these other defensive players over the years that have come up and exceeded their expectations.
Do you think the Raiders did enough on offense this draft, this free agency, to be a threat?
Yes.
Do you think that the locker room is going to be cohesive enough with Antonio Brown there?
Yes.
What did you think about his shots at Juju Schuster?
The Raiders and Steelers rivalry is more esteemed than most other rivalries in the NFL, stemming back to the 1960s, when both teams were atop the AFC for a number of years. So I think it's just I think it's a thing of the rivalry coming full circle. The Raiders have bested the Steelers every time we play them. Even when we suck, even when we go 4-12, even if you look back when Al Davis was still alive, after Gruden left the first time and we were trash. We drafted Jamarcus Russell. One of Jamarcus Russell's, I think so. Not entirely sure. But I think one of his only wins Jamarcus Russell ever had was against the Steelers. He beat them.
Wow.
So we've always beaten the Steelers, regardless. So the rivalry's always been there. It's just we don't play enough because the Steelers are always good and we always suck. So we only play every 4 years. But when we play, the fans know it. So I just think that just adds more fuel to the fire. It's a rivalry that I think needs more attention in the NFL. So I'm fine with it. And I think it just kind of riles up the rest of the team. I don't really see it as a bad thing. Once he starts talking bad about our players, then it's an issue. But right now, I don't think so. I think it's fine. And
are your Celtics still in the playoffs?
The Celtics, they are still in the playoffs. They're 1-1 against the Bucks. First game, straight killed the Bucks. Giannis looked like he didn't know what the fuck he was doing out there. And then second game, Kyrie didn't. He looked like he didn't know what the fuck he was doing out there. So we'll see what happens in Game 3. It's back in Boston. Malcolm Brogdon's back, which is scary. That's really scary. But I hope he's rusty, and I hope that Gordon Hayward and Jason Tatum can start playing like they have been playing all season, or Tatum like he's been playing all season, and Gordon Hayward like he's been playing the rest of this playoffs, and come back to form because this second game was atrocious across the board. So,
well, I won't be watching any of those, but if you aren't watching those, but you are looking to watch some sports, I would recommend watching Donald Cowboy Cerrone fight Raging Al Iaquinta this Saturday. On UFC ESPN Plus, I believe. I would highly encourage it. I think it's going to be a great 5-round affair.
Cerrone versus Iaquinta?
Al Iaquinta.
Al Iaquinta.
Raging Al. Same Al. Raging Al, man.
Wait, but it's the
Long Island Gangster.
It's a 5-round fight?
It's a 5-round main event.
Wow.
The winner, dude. The winner is right there for a title shot. I mean, we got Dustin Poirier fighting Habib. Probably at the end of the summer, beginning of fall. You got Tony Ferguson still floating out there. If we don't know what's going on with Conor McGregor, outside of Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor, right there for the title is probably Raging Al, Justin Gaethje. And if Donald Cerrone can beat Raging Al, then Donald Cerrone's right there.
You don't think Pettis is right there?
No, I do not.
Wow. I thought Pettis would be a little higher.
Well, his last win over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was amazing. It definitely increases his value pound for pound. It also increases his value within the company that he can take fights at 2 different weight classes. I would like to see him rematch Rafael Dos Anjos at 170, or maybe, like a fight with Jorge Masvidal would also be really fun. I don't want to see him go back to 155. Why not? I mean, why? You fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who's one of the top 3 welterweights in the world, and you knocked him out. So, Tyrone Woodley couldn't knock out Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
But stick around at welterweight, have some fun.
I feel it. Well, I will definitely be watching that fight this weekend. And if you don't have anything else to do, too, go and watch Endgame again. It's that good.
Yeah.
It's that good. So I think that's all the time we got for today. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we will see you next time on the Closers podcast. Quinn will probably be back for that one as well, and he will see you too.
All right.